Hi, this is attorney Sherry Stinson, your Palm Harbor estate planning attorney. And today I want to talk to you about beneficiary designations. Number one, what are they? And number two, what are some tips to make sure that you do this correctly? So beneficiary designations are just the naming of someone to receive a certain type of asset when you pass away. Obviously, we see this all the time with life insurance policies, but you'll also see them with things like annuities, checking accounts, savings accounts, IRAs, anything that could have the naming of someone to receive that asset. And so if you don't have a beneficiary designation on your account and you don't have an estate plan set up, what'll happen is that asset will end up going through the probate process. And probate can be expensive and time consuming. So in Florida, the presumptively reasonable fee that you would pay an attorney, meaning the attorney that the fee that the courts would think is fair, is 3% of the estate value. So if you have $1 million estate, 3% can be a fairly significant amount that you're paying in attorney's fees alone. It doesn't take into account other fees like filing fees and publication fees. So many times people will use these beneficiary designations as a probate avoidance device. So number one, you want to make sure that whenever you have an asset that you've named a beneficiary. You want to carefully consider who you name in each of these and not just blindly name people. You, number two, also want to have a primary beneficiary and a contingent beneficiary. So the primary person is the person who would receive the asset if you die, and the contingent beneficiary is the person who would receive the asset in case the primary person is deceased. So someplace where we might see this is if we have an individual who is married, they have an account in their name alone, they name their spouse as a beneficiary, but then the spouse and the account owner die in a common disaster. So something like a car wreck. If you don't have a contingent beneficiary named, then that asset is going to go through probate. So make sure that you take a look and see, do I have a primary and do I have a contingent? Number three, you want to regularly review these beneficiary designations. Just like you should regularly review your estate plan to make sure that it's up to date and current, you also want to review these designations. If you've named somebody as a beneficiary and that person has died, institution to institution will vary on what's supposed to happen with that particular asset if you don't have a contingent person named. So anytime there is a major life event, such as a birth, a death, a marriage, or divorce, you want to make sure that you've checked that beneficiary designation. Number four, make sure that you read the instructions on those beneficiary designations and that you ask questions of the financial institution. If I don't name anybody, what happens? If I name a person but there's no contingent, what happens? What happens if I have a primary and contingent but both of them are dead? Rules will vary from bank to bank, and you want to make sure that you know what's going to happen and make sure that you understand what you're doing. Number five, you want to make sure that these beneficiary designations coordinate with your will and your trust. If you come and see me, and let's say you name 3 beneficiaries in your will, maybe those are your kids, for example, but you only have 1 or 2 assets, and on those assets, you've only named 1 child, guess what? Your other 2 children will be cut out. So you really need to make sure that the beneficiary designations align with your estate plan. Number 6, don't just blindly name beneficiaries. You want to make sure that you talk to a CPA, talk to an attorney to understand the consequences of naming that person as a beneficiary. People often get this wrong. So one area where we'll see problems is maybe you have somebody who has special needs. So I'll see this grandparents all the time. They have a special needs grandchild thinking, oh, I just want to take care of the grandchild. Well, guess what? If that grandchild is on government benefits that are income or asset dependent or both, and now all of a sudden you give them $50,000, you've unintentionally created a problem. So make sure that you're getting good, competent advice on the effect of naming those beneficiaries. So those are our 6 tips on beneficiary designations. This list is not exclusive. There's obviously more things to consider, but if you have questions, as always, we're here to help. you can call us at 727-351-7057 or visit our website in the link below. Thanks for watching.